So I am pleased to be here with Coach Ray Lewis of Merrimack College. Uh, Coach, thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to sit down and chat for a little bit. I know you got practice and weights this morning, so I don't want to keep you from that too long. But yeah, again, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. It's always an exciting opportunity.
So, we'll get into it. You're going to be coaching a first year program for the second year in a row, kind of being entrusted with the infancy of this program at Merrimack. What does that mean to you, be entrusted with such I think a big and important role of starting off a program?
It means a lot. As you mentioned, second time in a row. So it's kind of crazy from that perspective. I think this time going in, I have an experience and a knowledge base I didn't have prior. And so that's been really helpful and useful in terms of how to develop culture, little details and things that you might not think about when you walk into starting a new program. But it means the world to me. I love Merrimack. It really is like a great fit. This school really feels like a place that I see myself for a long period of time. So it's been awesome. It's been fun, challenging, but I enjoy it. I look forward to every day just going in and continuing to build something that hasn't been done before. So
That's incredible. Yeah, I mean, to be able to take that on and being willing to do it again. I mean, that says I think a lot for your work ethic and your willingness that you're able to get in there and get things done. Yeah.
yeah.
I was looking at your resume, and you might be a first year coach at Merrimack, but you are far from a first year coach. I mean, from every level, it seems high school, club, uh, assistant in the professional scene a little bit, NAIA, huge success, including a national championship. So congratulations there.
Thank you.
And then even in D2, success there, coach of the year for on the women's side. Last year, men's regular season and conference champions in the SIAC. So, I mean, it seems like you have success at every level. What is it about your playing, your coaching style that, really lends itself to seeing this success on the court?
Well, I'm the coach. It ultimately comes down to the players, right? And having the right people on the bus. We talk a lot about that in our program and just the culture that we want to build. But that would be my number one thing is culture. I would say I demand a lot from the players, but you have to have players that are bought in and see the same vision that you have. So that's been kind of the key to the success of the different levels and programs and um, schools, like clubs, things like that. Is if you don't have the right guys or girls, they're not bought into your vision. It really doesn't matter how much you know or what you bring as a coach or what you're asking. So that's been the biggest consistent key to success, I would say. And then, just working hard. I always tell, the guys and girls, there's no real secret to this thing, but working really hard and being willing to grind. So for me, I love the grind, but it's a lot of early mornings and late nights. So
As evidenced by this. So a man of your word already. So I guess when thinking of the culture of Merrimack, is there any word or phrase that you've been instilling in the players already in this, in the fall?
Yeah, I would say one thing we talk a lot about is just objectivity, right? So how can we look at our performance, our day-to-day, our habits, detached from an emotional state, which I think is really hard for athletes. But when they can get to this point of being more objective, it really allows them to be honest with themselves, honest with me, and then start to work towards the direction, the goals that they have set for themselves. So objectivity is a big one. And then I'm big on peer-to-peer accountability because, as coaches, it's part of our job is going to be to get on players, keep them accountable but when you can actually get your team to buy into that, I think it really elevates what you can do from a culture perspective. So they're invested in the process, and we've really been trying to get these guys to own the program, right? This is their team, this is their program, and Merrimack's their university. And so that's been really successful so far. But those are the two big things that I would say that, take a little bit of time. And once you can get everyone to buy into that, it really elevates what you can do.
That's great. I have a soft spot in my heart for any school that has the mascot of Warriors. So my high school and my college were both Warriors. So
Awesome.
I'm a fan already.
Well, the one thing we have going for us is the Rainbow Warriors have won a couple national championships. So maybe it's something about the mascot, we're trying to
Hey,
trend in that right direction.
yeah, take anything you can get, right?
Right.
So yeah, I mean, you mentioned, the Rainbow Warriors at college volleyball on the men's side right now is, I think, seems like it's having a lot of growth in the last couple of years. So I guess from your vantage point, being able to see it at a lot of different levels, I know, what do you kind of think of the state of men's collegiate volleyball right now?
Yeah, it's moving the right direction. It's been awesome to see the amount of growth and opportunities. I think the SIAC was incredible, just for the growth and opportunities for minority athletes specifically. So I was really glad to be a part of that. Although it wasn't the fit for me in my professional development long term, I really just am excited to see what's happening in the SIAC. But just men's volleyball in general, it seems like every few months or so, we're hearing about a new school pop up. There's a lot of conversations about some new conference developments. Obviously, we got approved for NCAA tournament expansion. So we're getting to the point that our sport is starting to get more and more widespread. So it's just really exciting to see where we're going to be in the next 3 to 5 years and how many more opportunities and hopefully more conferences and getting to that 16. Maybe we get to a 24 team tournament someday and just trending the right direction.
I, speaking the same language, I'm excited for, yeah, where it's headed, the growth, and more teams in the tournament would always be a good thing in my book.
But more volleyball to watch, right?
Yeah, and more high quality volleyball too, which is, I mean, I think what everyone is wanting to see. So,
Absolutely, yeah.
so personally, interested in some of the more numbers aspects and the statistics side. I'm interested, in your career coaching. How have you seen the analytical side of volleyball morphing, if it has? The assumption is it has, but
Yeah, I would say, man, it's just such a huge component of what you do, and it drives not only obviously your decision making and matches and making tactical adjustments, but it also drives what you do in practice day in day out. So for me, having the analytics available day to day has really allowed me to grow as a coach, because I can now look at those numbers and say, how do we progress what we need and address our areas of weakness in practice based off analytics. And, as coaches, you're always kind of spinning your wheels going, am I doing the right things? Am I spending enough time on the right areas, right? How can we be more efficient in everything? But when you have analytics behind your decision making, it really, I think, empowers you as a coach, and it empowers your players as well. They can look and see those numbers, and they can look and see their efficiencies and even their spray charts, and it just really helps drive growth, I think. So it's been incredible. I'm kind of a volley nerd when it comes to that stuff, so I can't get enough of it. The players probably look at me like, Coach, we don't need to know all of that, but it definitely has been invaluable in my growth as a coach.
well, that's great. I think uh, in my book, the more numbers we can get, the better. The real key is figuring out how to analyze them, translate them into the playing and the coaching, and that's the hard part. Getting numbers is the easy part.
Right. Yeah. How do we make them digestible to an 18 to 22-year-old? I'm still searching for that answer. I think we get close sometimes, but yeah.
Oh man. Well, thinking of the season ahead, I know Warriors haven't released their full schedule yet. I think through some other ones, we've seen some snippets of some league play. As far as I can tell, the only non-conference match out there listed is traveling to Queens, down in Charlotte. Um, is there any? I don't know what you're allowed to say, but is there anything you're looking forward to in your non-conference matches this year?
Yeah. I mean, I think I can drop some hints. Hopefully, my admin's okay with it. No, our schedule is final. We've just been waiting for the final conference schedule, which was just released last week. So we are going to open our inaugural match is going to be at Penn State. So we're super excited about that. Really grateful to Pav for having us down there. We're going to play Harvard a couple times and CNJIT. And, we have some pretty strong non-conference opponents. We are going to do a trip down to the Conference Carolinas. So really excited to get started and compete against some high-level teams. I think that very first match will be a really good eye-opening experience for our guys to get them to understand what high-level volleyball looks like, right? So no better way to go out and play one of the best programs in the country. And super excited about that. And then as we get into conference, I think we'll have a pretty strong conference group. These coaches have done a really good job of establishing their programs in a pretty quick timeline. So I'm just excited to get out there and compete. And it's kind of fun because we're the wild card that no one has any idea about. So we did get to scrimmage at one point and we're missing 3 of our key players. And so people have seen a little bit, but not much, which makes it even more fun for us. So super excited to get going.
That's great. I mean, having strong opponents is super great. I think just for the growth of players, regardless of outcome. It shows, both sides. You can't just count people out. You also can aim towards something great. So that's awesome. Excited to hear that.
Yeah, we're really excited. And, to that point as well, we always tell the guys is that if we're trying to build an elite program, we've got to go out and play those teams. And even though in year one, obviously you don't expect to go out and just challenge them as much as you'd like. We expect to compete. But the growth you get from that competition, last year at Central State, we played Ohio State, and that was such an invaluable match for us because they saw they could compete at a high level. But they also saw that there's some glaring weaknesses that we really have to develop. So it drove our growth a ton.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. And thinking of the Northeast Conference, you're the only first year team, which is, different than last year where everyone was a first year team in the SIAC. So yeah, different dynamic there. I think it'll be a really exciting conference to watch this year.
Oh yeah, we're really excited.
So, with new programs and rosters are always one of the big mystery parts. It looks like you do have at least one familiar face on your team, though, that came with you, but, was with you at Central State as well. And then I think 2 other transfers. So let's see. So Lang, Moats, and Clapp. And all your transfers there that I saw listed, unless I'm wrong.
We have a few more actually. Yeah. So we have
okay.
Xander Thies, who's a transfer out of an NAI out in Arizona. Matthew, okay. I think you mentioned Anthony Shaishan, and Miles Dewhurst, who came from San Diego Miramar out in California. And Sage Gatling, who actually transferred from LIU in the conference. So we have about half and half. That was one of my learning experiences, is that don't bring in 15 freshmen because you're going to have to do a lot more work in terms of just day to day. So I brought in a handful of transfers to kind of have that leadership in our gym right away.
Oh, that's great. More than I even knew of. So that, I was wondering, what that dynamic would look like. But I mean, I think you've really spoken to that, of having the, veteran presence, if you will, mixed with the newcomers and building a program from that.
Yeah, that's that wild card, right? No one really knows who's on our roster yet.
Oh, no, that's great. Well, I know you have things to do, but I do have some quick, just kind of rapid fire questions for you if you're up for it. Have 6 of them, 6 starting spots. I figure that'd be fitting.
Okay, let's do it.
So I can't promise they won't be easy, but they should be, they won't, you don't have to dwell on them super long. So
okay. I'll
so
do my
now that you're up in New England, what are your feelings on Dunkin' Donuts?
I'm in love with it. I drink it every day. Never had it before moving here, and the iced coffee with the French vanilla swirls the move. So love it.
Great. Should liberos be able to serve in men's volleyball?
Ooh, maybe go back and forth. Um, I do like that middles have to serve and the skill of it. But I wouldn't mind having my libero be able to go back there and, serve in some crucial situations.
Totally fair. So maybe this will transition to this one. Would you rather have a setter who's a great attacker or a middle that has a great serve?
I want an attacking setter, right? That middle serve's helpful, but in terms of long term, that aggressive setter that can attack is going to score you a few more points.
I won't ask you to, divulge any secrets here, but what's one of your favorite stats to look at post match?
Ooh, post match, obviously offensive efficiency is going to be one of the first things you look at just to see, our distribution and how efficient we were and how well we scored. Um, I'm trying to think. The other thing that I keep in match is just point runs. So I'm seeing that, live, but I do like to look at runs and kind of the areas that we had some shortcomings in a match or that we went on really good runs and try to correlate that to what rows were being most effective in.
That's great. So if you had to coach a sport that wasn't volleyball, what would it be?
Easy. Basketball. I'm a big basketball fan. And back in my day, I used to coach some women's JV high school basketball. So well versed.
Okay.
No.
It sounds like you've hung up your JV basketball coaching career, though. Is that
It was short-lived. Very happy with, the experience, but let's just say that's not my long-term coaching longevity plan.
great? Okay, and last one. Is Merrimack going to win the NEC this year?
Oh, you can't put me on the spot like that. Let's just say um, my mindset in any team and program is to always aim to be the best. And so we're aiming as high as possible and we're excited to get on the court.
I love it. It's a great answer.
Thanks. I got to be
Well,
careful. You never know if those other coaches see this, and we're trying to be the dog.
yeah, no, you got to play both sides of it.
Right.
Oh, great. Well, Coach Lewis, I appreciate you taking the time to, chat with me a little bit, learn a little bit about your coaching style, what's going on in Merrimack. So I guess it's kind of parting words for, all the volleyball fans out there that maybe haven't heard of Merrimack. What's one good reason that they should be rooting for you this year?
um, Merrimack, I'm biased, and I tell all my recruits this, but it's a beautiful school and campus. But besides that, I just think we're seeing a ton of growth in this sport, and we're seeing more and more opportunities for men to play this sport at a high level, as you mentioned. And so we just want to continue to trend and support programs that are helping grow our sport. So Merrimack, we are the newest Division I school, so you kind of have to root for us, right? Like we're the new guy in the block. Everyone likes the new guy. But yeah, definitely going to go out there and try to put the best product possible and help continue to grow the game in this area. And, besides Harvard, who's not too far, but we're kind of like the only ish school in this region. So it's been pretty exciting to just really grow men's volleyball to an area that hasn't seen it.
That's great. I love it. I will be rooting for you guys. It's always exciting to see new teams out there, and the more teams, the merrier. That's what I
Yep.
think. So glad to have Merrimack in the mix.
We are too. Very excited.
Okay. Well, thank you again, Coach, for sitting down with me. I'll let you run off to practice and work out, and getting everything all planned up, ready for the season.
Sounds good. Thanks and happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.